I really find it rewarding serving on the council, and I feel that actually, although I've served 7 years, I've just completed my first full term of 4 years. The first term on the council was a special election. I came in finishing another council member's term, so I was in for 3. And it took a number of years to really get up to speed, to understand the full dynamics. Many of the issues, it took time to fully appreciate and understand, and of course, the police issues were involved, and I've been here throughout that whole development of police issues. So I think it gives me a very solid understanding of the key players, both before, during, and now as we're trying to resolve the police matters. So I really felt it was important to continue on for continuity. And I also felt it's important because I've been involved with the city for over 20 years, almost 25 years. And so I feel there's some historical perspective, institutional memory, if you will, that I think is very important when we're discussing whether it's new development or new budget issues, whatever. So that's why I thought it was important to continue serving. Well, I've come from a time where you were told not to count chickens before they hatch. So I was watching the numbers come in. They looked favorable. But in past elections, I actually trailed during the initial votes coming in, and at the very end, leaped ahead. So I didn't have a really good comfort level until towards the end when we had 94% of the precincts reporting. And it looked like it was a gap that wouldn't close. And I received 2 very kind phone calls from both the city clerk and the city manager indicating that it appeared to be that I would be the victor with the most votes, and they were offering congratulations. And so, yes, it was a combination of pleasure and happiness of winning, but also a relief of just campaigning for months. It's tiring. It is a process, especially if this is not your only occupation. I have a full-time practice that I run in addition, so it's quite an effort to put forth. So it was a combination of relief and happiness with victory, and also happiness for the community, because in campaigning, I heard a lot from residents that they really wanted me to continue serving, and it was the result of that campaign effort that I was very pleased. Well, I think one of the most important things that the council needs to do is to identify, locate, and retain a new permanent city manager. We have Mr. Pulskamp is coming on an interim basis, and he's doing, I guess, the best he can as an interim city manager, and that's great. However, we're looking ahead for years, hopefully, with a regular permanent city manager who can chart a course for the employees in the city, working with the council, and really have stability is what we'd like to see at City Hall. So that's perhaps the top priority. Second, perhaps second and third tied for second, have to do with of course, our budget situation. We want to have as sound a budget process as we can to make sure we're running as tight and clean a ship as we can with respect to expenditures, And we also have our police matters. The police issues that we faced over the past number of years have been wrenching and traumatic for the city and the police department. And fortunately, I believe we have really good people at the helm. We have folks who are working very hard to identify what the issues were and make sure that we don't have a repeat of the challenges in that department. So I think second and third issues would be budget and police matters. And perhaps fourth, and not to be underestimated, many of the employees in the city have been working without increase in compensation or perhaps cutbacks. Some of our departments that provide very good service for our community, whether it's public works that keep our roads repaired or library services, any number of departments, even the city clerk's office, they want to do more. They want to do a better job, but the funding has been constrained. So I really want to work hard and hopefully see if as the economy perhaps rebounds, if we can do more as a city to provide some of the services that don't necessarily get the front headline page. It's not the fire department putting out a fire or the police rescuing someone, but it's really stuff that is the nuts and bolts of the city. And so I think that mustn't be forgotten. It's something we really need to work on. Well, there's a couple. I'm hoping as we go ahead in the coming weeks, months, and years that the council can come together and give a more unified message to both staff and the department heads, including city manager, city attorney. So we're not sort of confusing direction and issue. I mean, there have been approaches that have been taken. I think that we need to listen very carefully to the voters, what they've said, what they've wanted, both folks campaigning and just receiving information, because we need to address the concerns of our citizens. We're here to serve the public. We're not here to just sort of pronounce and dictate rules and regulations. So I think we have to get a keener ear to the public's concerns as far as a governmental agency. The other thing is that I'm hoping we can address some of the long-term issues that are important to the city, such as our airport. Airport didn't get much discussion during the election, but we have a development agreement that is coming to conclusion. We have a very, very valuable asset in our airport in the city, but for years there's been contention and discussion about where the future. Is it going to be a regional transportation hub? Is it going to be something of a larger scale, or is it going to stay more of a community type of airport, perhaps modernized? So that is something that's going to take a lot of time and attention and effort. And then finally, I think that we need to just overview our entire city and see how we can operate more efficiently and provide services, retaining the resources we have. And it's one point I do want to emphasize because it did come up during the campaign. You know, even during the Great Depression, we managed as a city to retain our employees and keep our staffs and services operating, perhaps at a reduced level, but we did it. And I really want to send a message to our community, our city workers and employees, that I very strongly believe we need to retain the dedication and commitment that they've shown to the city as we move forward. I think that's the best way to continue providing the highest level of services to the community. I think when the time comes for me to move on, I think that people should look back and say, David Gordon brought a few things to City Hall, despite perhaps folks that didn't agree with him. And what it was is, I feel that I was shedding light by asking questions that probe certain things that weren't being discussed, and to make people feel that their government is working for them. I really hoped, and I've said in campaigns, that I wanted to put the people first, and I wanted to restore trust and confidence in our local government. And when I leave, if there's a higher level of trust and confidence and respect for our various departments, our city government, and if I leave and people have a higher degree of confidence, perhaps they understand the processes of government better, perhaps they're not afraid to come down and express their views, then I think I will have made a positive contribution to our community.